layout of our barn. That's a north door to the north pasture. Gate where we kind of corral them in here, put cedars, sort lambs, what have you, water tanks. These feeders we bought at an auction a few years ago. They're side L's, if you can see that. They're actually part of a round bell feeder that we ran cattle panels down and tied them to. There's the girls. There's a ram. Hey, Kurt. Always got to keep an eye on him. There's another feeder I built. Just 4x6s and 4x4 for corners. Cut up cattle panel. Makes it pretty easy to feed on the other side, no sheep in your way. More panels. This is just for dumping corn in. It's 2 foot by 8 foot. It's a half sheet of plywood. 2x4s, 4x4 legs. There's a creep panel upside down that we use over here. I put it against there, against that gate. Let the lambs through to our creep feeder. That's our door to the south pasture, and that's the door to the southwest pasture. Picked up this feeder a few years ago. It's worked out flawless. Holds about 700 pounds. Right now it has nothing. What little it had in it, the ewes cleared out, and now it's ready for fresh feed, which is optimal for getting lambs to grow. And I'll show you our pasture here real quick. It ain't much. This is a 5-acre farm. Last year we had about 180 lambs. That's it. That and the front pasture. This used to be our old boarding stables. We've converted into actually something that makes money. And actually is considered a farm by the USDA. Now, most people would just go out and buy these panels, and they run $20, $22, $24, up to $42 for combination panels. What I did, since I'm a disabled Marine Corps veteran that decided to sheep farm after I started going blind, there's a organization that's funded, last I checked, by Easter Seals, and the organization is called Agribility. Agribility helps farmers that have become handicapped. They try to figure out ways to work around their disability to prolong them in farming. Ned Stoller in Michigan heads up for the state of Michigan. Got me a grant for $1,000 for all those cattle panels. Now, I'll show you something a little more. I didn't show you up here. We just fenced this place in. We've been here 2 years. Fenced this place in a year ago. We put in, this is in front north pasture, put in all new fencing, and we did that, like again, through the USDA. There's a cost sharing grant that we were awarded, I think roughly around $4,200 for the grant. Got the grant. And you can get grants through the FDA, well, the FSA, USDA office, for everything from automatic waters to fencing to slurry tanks, slurry pits, to everything but buying sheep or buying livestock and housing. And the grant can't be used anything for housing and livestock, and the grants can't be used for anything for horses. Because the USDA, last I checked, didn't consider horses as livestock. But we have housed, well, that grant, I think we did we kind of hired a couple of guys, and they brought an auger, and we used our tractor. And I found a post place down in Coldwater, Michigan, that sold cedar post for, I believe they were 6" by 8 foot for like $8.50, which the pine ones, the TSC, sell for $16.50. And then 6" by 10 footers for the corner post. Those were, I think, $10-12, which is still pretty cheap considering TSC sells those 6" by 8 footers for $16. And that's what I use for all the corner posts and bracing posts and what have you. I think I ended up getting, I think it cost like $1,600 for roughly around, I think it was 1,630 feet of fencing. And I found 330-foot spools of red brand, just regular cattle fencing for $100 a spool, lucked up. But 6 spools, I think we ended up using like 4 3/4 or 4.5 spools for the whole place. And then I really lucked out when my neighbor got out of cattle, and 2 years before he did that, he bought all these really nice soup gates, and I've been buying them at 50% what new cost is, as fast as I need them. But here's another trick for all the new shepherds out there. If you got ewes about the lamb, get you one of these sheep molasses tubs. This is made by Kent. It's 15%, I think. Yeah, 15% protein. Won't focus. And if you think about it as a diabetic way, or in a pregnant woman way, you're trying to supplement not just the ewe, but the lambs inside her also, and after she lambs, the lambs outside of her. And God, they look nasty with poopy butts. I ain't poopy butts, just poop, and then they lay on it from all the straw and everything. But they're sugar drops. When they lamb, they're lamb's sugar drops. Yeah, you little pecker. And if you keep their sugar up in a normal state with the lambs, and when they're going through lambing with the ewes and everything, you get more vibrant lambs. Now, I've seen some other YouTube videos where people had 5-6 month old lambs that were 60 to 80 pounds. My current record right now with this setup, this past spring I had a ewe lamb that was a single, granted. She hit 105, 107 pounds at 85 days old. And yes, that was a spring-born lamb, which I prefer spring-born lambs, namely because you don't have fly strike, and I had to deal with it this year, and it's horrible. And you do lose a couple lambs, even when you got fighters that do it. It's not good. It's cold weather. When you lamb, and we've lambed down in 30 below inside of a barn. You don't have a draft, you get that lamb warm. Within an hour, he's up nursing, good to go. Otherwise, the mother rejects it, whatever happens, well, that's why we got a wood stove inside. And again, don't ever give up on a lamb that wants to live. And even some of the ones that don't want to live. We have tube fed. Hell, I had a lamb that was half frozen. I had a nice wood fire going in the wood stove in the living room. I propped that sucker up with a towel wrapped around him, about 2-3 feet away from the wood stove, left him for 4 or 5 hours, went shopping, grocery shopping, and did all the errands, came back. Sucker was nice and warm, and that's the other thing. You don't ever want to try to tube feed or bottle feed a lamb that's cold. His rumen isn't working, and that will flat out kill that lamb. Warm that lamb up, and then tube feed him if you have to, which I'm not going to lie, as a city guy that converted into full country, it's a learning process. You will accidentally kill a couple lambs. But once we go lambing, I'm probably sure we'll have at least one that I got tube feed for whatever reason. Good God, look at that big old pregnant ewe down at the other end. And yeah, I'll go over how to tube feed a lamb, and yeah, it's still touch and go after 6-7 years of having lambs. But once you get the hang of it, it ain't so bad. pulling your first lamb, that's another process too. So, but yeah, they that core we dumped in yesterday is pretty much obliterated. But they're not on pasture due to snow, cold weather, wind chill. And that's the other thing, I did a mistake, turned my back on him. And you'll run into on your rams, ones that false charge like that and whatnot. So you just gotta always keep your not back turned to him. This is about my favorite ewe right here. Nice, short, wide, white face ewe. You know what? Get back. Get back. You want a tub upside your head? Huh? Now see, you don't have to hurt them. You don't really have to chase them down. You show them a little, I'm not scared of you. This is not okay. And they walk away. He's not cornered or anything. Just being a little ornery because he ain't got any more ladies to breed. So, but we got another month or so before lambs start hitting the ground. I'll show you guys those when they hit the ground. Until then, I'll see y'all and subscribe.